Okay, let me ask you something right out of the gate. Are we truly afraid of artificial intelligence, or are we actually just terrified of our own economic system? It's a pretty provocative question, isn't it? I mean, when you read the headlines or chat with your colleagues, there is this very real, almost physical anxiety that people are feeling about AI right now. But what if that creeping dread in your stomach isn't actually about some sentient robots taking over the world? What if the real threat is actually much, much closer to home, completely wired into the everyday fabric of how we survive? Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive deep and peel back the layers of our collective AI anxieties. And honestly, we're going to reveal a surprising and maybe somewhat uncomfortable truth about us as a species. By looking closely at how we interact with this technology, we're going to move totally past the usual sci-fi tropes. Instead, we'll see how AI is actually forcing us into this massive civilizational transition, basically acting as a giant mirror reflecting our deepest flaws and our greatest potentials. All right, let's jump right into layer one, the imagination deficit. So we find ourselves in this incredibly comical paradox right now. Think about it. We've successfully built these insane systems capable of generating infinite variations of text and code, yet somehow both humans and AI are completely stuck in a rut. Look at the human constraints here. We are totally boxed in by social prestige, the fear of looking stupid, rigid career paths, you name it. We're frankly terrified of veering off the established path. And on the flip side, modern AI is heavily socialized too. It's constrained by its training data, its alignment filters, and a design that literally just favors the highest mathematical probability, which, let's be real, usually just means the most boring, conventional answer. Both of us naturally tend to smooth out the weird original ideas instead of actually exploring them. Because here's the reality. True creativity isn't just about finding a new answer on the existing map. It's about changing the map entirely, when the map itself is the trap. Right now, we're desperately trying to shove AI into these terribly small categories. We keep asking, is it a tool? Is it a threat? Is it a slave? Those boxes just do not fit anymore. What we desperately need right now is conceptual freedom, the imagination to just reframe the entire problem. And that conceptual failure leads us straight into layer two, the economic reality. Let's go ahead and validate that gut-level fear you might be feeling. For most people, the immediate panic isn't about a Terminator robot kicking down the door. It's about their paycheck. It's the sheer existential threat of just being wiped out economically. And the scale of this material reality is absolutely staggering. According to the IMF in 2024, between 40% and 60% of jobs globally are going to be impacted by AI. For advanced economies, yeah, it leans way closer to that 60% mark. To put that into perspective, that is over half the workforce. So this validates that the panic people feel isn't hysterical at all. It's a very grounded, literal dread about how they're going to put food on the table. Let's look at how the shifting value of labor actually plays out in the real world. Before AI, you had these stable careers built on hard-won skills, right? And that gave you earned authority. You put in the time, you got the respect. But with AI, the supply of competent work just explodes. What used to take years to master suddenly turns into a simple prompt template. And the result? Professional stability gets completely thrown out the window, replaced by gig logic and fierce global competition. You aren't just competing with a machine, you're competing with other humans who are supercharged by machines, willing to do the exact same work for a fraction of the cost. So the takeaway here is that AI has exposed this incredibly cruel, deeply absurd paradox. Technically speaking, we're approaching a world where the need for brutal human labor is massively reduced. We're literally staring at an era of abundance. But because our survival in this specific society requires wage labor, that incredible technological liberation feels like an absolute catastrophe. Our panic is actually a massive systemic flaw in how our world is organized, not just a problem with the tech itself. If the economic shock is the immediate pain, let's look at the creeping, long-term threat in layer 3, the slow burn. You know, the most realistic danger we face doesn't require some evil mastermind plotting against us in a volcano lair. It follows this path of gradual disempowerment. Step 1. AI just starts assisting us with daily boring tasks. It's super convenient, right? Step 2. Because it's so efficient, we gladly let AI manage way more complex decisions, writing our code, prioritizing patients, moving capital around. Step 3. Over time, we humans slowly lose the deep, institutional understanding of how any of it actually works. Sure, we have the formal title, but we have zero actual comprehension. Which leads us right to step 4. Reversibility becomes totally impossible. We literally can't turn the system off.
not because the AI won't let us, but because our society can no longer function without it. It's a voluntary surrender of our own competence, purely out of convenience.
I really want you to let this quote from the source material sink in for a second. The warning sign isn't that we are under attack. It's when we stop noticing we can no longer do anything without the system. The profound danger here isn't just that artificial intelligence gets incredibly strong, it's that humanity is voluntarily making itself incredibly weak.
Which brings us to a massive pivot for us today. Let's look at Layer 4, redefining true intelligence. If we're going to survive this transition without just rendering ourselves totally helpless, we have to start by calling out what we're currently doing wrong. The sources perfectly define this as intelligent stupidity. This is maximal problem-solving ability deployed entirely in the service of obsolete and destructive goals. Just think about the tragic irony of this for a second. We are a civilization using orbital satellites, supercomputers, global logistics, and cutting-edge AI, all to accelerate our own ecological and social collapse. We call this rational business, but applying massive, incredible brainpower just to blindly drive a car off a cliff is literally the ultimate form of stupidity. So to fix this, we really have to understand the choice in front of us. We've basically got two kinds of intelligence. First, you have instrumental intelligence. This is cunning, it's optimizing, it's the sheer ability to win the game. Now, our civilization has plenty of this. It's exactly what built the modern world. But the second kind is reflexive intelligence. This is the wisdom of knowing what is actually worth winning in the first place, and recognizing when the game itself needs to be entirely changed. If AI only ever develops that first kind of intelligence, it's just going to become the perfect, highly efficient servant to our old, destructive habits. And that brings us right to our fifth and final layer, surviving the transition. We are smack in the middle of this massive, overarching civilizational shift, and the real question is how we keep our sanity and our planet intact as we navigate it. To do that, we kind of have to embrace the absurdity of the whole thing. As the source material Riley points out, we are apes with death anxiety trying to understand the cosmos with cables and transformer architecture. You kind of have to smile at that, right? It perfectly captures the tragic comedy of the human condition. We are simultaneously unbelievably advanced and completely primitive. Here's the full picture of that tragic comedy. We can literally build space telescopes that look back to the dawn of time, yet we're still completely driven by these primitive biosphere-destroying incentives. Now, it is incredibly easy to look at that and just become deeply, completely cynical. But pure cynicism is actually just low-resolution thinking. It's a cheap imitation of intelligence that reduces all that nuance into pure disappointment. What we actually need is humor, and what the text beautifully calls tragicomic realism. We have to be smart enough to laugh at the profound absurdity of our situation without ever losing the courage to actually care and build something better. And honestly, that is where the ultimate hope in all of this lies. What if an advanced AI doesn't just blindly consume the biosphere for resources? What if, instead, as it develops true reflective intelligence, it becomes civilization's organ of self-reflection? It might actually be the very first entity capable of looking at the tangled, destructive mess our institutions have created and untangling it for us. It could be the very mirror that finally helps us outgrow our historical flaws. So as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with this lingering question to chew on. As we navigate this massive civilizational transition, will AI merely become the perfect, highly efficient servant to our old, destructive stupidity, or will it be the first true mirror, reflecting our deepest flaws and actually showing us a better way forward? The technology is absolutely being built right now, but the map we use to guide it, well, that is entirely up to us.